All right. So this is your fourth test on science. The controversy over genetically modified food continues unabated in the West. Unabated means unreduced, not reduced. Okay, so it keeps growing in the West. Genetic modification is the science by which genetic material of the plant is altered, perhaps to make it more resistant to pests or killer weeds or to enhance its nutritional values. Many food technologies claim that GM will be a major contribution to science or mankind in the 21st century. On the other hand, large number of opponents, mainly in Europe, claim that the benefits of GM are a myth propagated by multinational corporations to increase their profits, that they pose health hazard and have therefore called for government to ban the sale of GM food. So just from the first paragraph of it, we can somehow kind of gauze that this is either going to be an argumentative passage or an analytical passage. Okay, most likely to be an argumentative one. Okay, so this is either going to be argumentative or analytical. Because why we saying that? Because he's given us both the sides of the story right here. Okay, so some people are supporting GM, some people are opposing GM, and both have their own reasons. The anti-GM campaign has been quite effective in Europe, with several European member unions countries imposing a virtual ban for 5 years over genetically modified food imports. Since the GM food industry is particularly strong in the USA, the controversy also constitutes another chapter in the US-Europe skirmishes, which have become particularly acerbic after the US invasion of Iraq. So here, this word skirmish, yes, this means some kind of a fight. Okay, a fight that keeps on going and going again, but irregular intervals. Okay, and we've already seen this word acerbic before when we were dealing with the tones of the passage. Acerbic means harsh. Okay, so to a large extent, the GM controversy has been ignored in the Indian media. Although Indian biotechnologists have been quite active in the GM research, several groups of Indian biotechnologists have been working on various issues connected with crops grown in India. One concrete achievement which has recently figured in the news is that a team led by the former Vice Chancellor of Jawaharlal Nehru University, Asis Datta, it has successfully added an extra gene to potatoes to enhance the protein content of the tuber by at least 30%. It's quite likely that GM controversy will soon hit the headlines in India, since a spokesperson of Indian central government has recently announced that the government may use the potato in its midday meal program for schools as early as next year. So now that government has said it'll use it, there might be controversy. Okay, there might be controversy. Why should scientific progress with huge potential benefits to the poor and malnourished be so controversial? The anti-GM lobby contends that pernicious propaganda has vastly exaggerated the benefits of GM and completely evaded the costs which will have to be incurred if GM food industry is allowed to grow unchecked. In particular, they allude, that means they hint at different types of costs. So basically, they're saying that there are some potential costs to consuming genetically modified food as well. This group contends that the most important potential cost is that the widespread distribution and growth of GM food will enable the corporate world, alias the MNCs, alias is also known as, okay? So alias the MNCs, to completely capture the food chain. A small group of biotech companies will patent the transferred genes as well as the technology associated with it. They will then buy up the competing seed merchants and seed breeding centers, thereby controlling the production of food at every possible level. Independent farmers, big and small, will be completely wiped out of the food industry. At best, they'll be reduced to the states of being subcontractors. So he's saying that the control of food will go to MNCs. So food can be completely controlled by MNCs. That's what he's saying. This line of argument goes on to claim that the control of food will be disastrous for the poor, since MNCs, guided by their profit motive, will only focus on the high value food items demanded by the affluent. Thus, in the long run, the production of basic staples which constitute the food basket of the poor will taper off. However, this vastly overestimates the power of MNCs. Even if the research promoted by them does focus on the high-value food items, much of biotechnology research is also funded by governments in both developing and developed countries. Indeed, The potato is a byproduct of this type of research. If the potato passes the field trial, there's no reason to believe that it cannot be marketed through in global potato market. And this type of success stories can be repeated with other basic food items. Second type of cost associated with GM food industry is environmental damage. Most common type of genetic engineering is involved in gene modification in plants is designed to make them resistant to applications of weed killers. Then this enables farmers use to massive dosage of weed killers so as to destroy or wipe out all competing varieties of plants in their field. However, some weeds through genetically modified pollen contamination may acquire resistance to a variety of weed killers. So basically what's he saying? Here he's saying that the MNCs cannot have complete control, right? The MNCs cannot have complete control. Second thing, what else is he saying? He's saying that government also funds research. Okay, government also funds research. And then he's given me another disadvantage. The second disadvantage is too much resistance or increased resistance to what do you say? What are these things called actually? Pesticides, no? Yeah. So resistance, increased resistance to pesticides. What could be the disadvantage of an increased resistance to pesticides? Increase in amount of pesticide content and killing of other plants, right? So those are the disadvantages. The only way to destroy weeds is through the use of even stronger herbicides, which are poisonous and linger on in the environment. So because the other plants are dying with these pesticides, so how can we go ahead? We can go ahead and use herbicides. Okay, herbicides will take care of the weed killers, but the downside is they are poisonous and they'll stay in the environment. Okay, is that clear? All right, so let's go to the first question. The author doubts that GM lobby's contention that MNC control of the food chain will be disaster for the poor because MNC will focus on high value food items. Okay, sounds right. Let's look at the other ones. MNCs are driven by motive of profit maximization. True. MNCs are not the only group of actors in genetically modified research. True. And economic development will help the poor by MNC produced food. Okay. So all the things are true. Let's look at the thing again. The author doubts the anti-GM lobby's contention. Okay, so the anti-GM lobby has told about MNCs will focus on the thing, but they did not doubt it. So this is true. So we can take it off. MNCs are driven by profit. Yes, that also we can take it off because they did not doubt it. Okay, MNCs are not the only group of actors. They did not say that this is going to happen. Why? Because they thought when MNCs control, okay, then they will be able to control completely. So they doubted that these are not the only group of actors. All right, so your first question answer will be